Welcome to the third season of the What's Your Story podcast with your host, Ron Coughlin. This podcast dives into the exciting world of AI for marketers. Each episode, we chat with some of the top marketing leaders and educators who are using AI to transform their strategies. Get ready to discover how AI is revolutionizing marketing and learn how you can leverage these powerful tools to help grow your business and career. We look forward to you joining us for an exciting discussion each week about the power of AI.
Ron Coughlin back at you once again with the What's Your Story podcast. And this week I have a very exciting guest and an old friend and an old colleague from my past, Craig Belcher. And Craig Belcher is a crazy guy. We've actually even done some rock and roll together. So, hey, Craig, welcome today to the podcast. How are you doing?
Ron, great to see you. Thanks for having me on today. It's a real privilege to be here. And yes, we have done a number of different interesting things together.
Yeah, so actually, Craig and I worked for a company called Consumer Impact Marketing. Craig was the head of new business development and helped, build my division, which was the launch division. And we had an in-house band of all things. And we had quite a good time, and we would play to the annual meeting with 400 or 500 people, and it was great to get back on stage again. And Craig he looks like a rock star, and he can sing like a rock star. So,
well, I'll just take that gracefully, and we'll move
on. But we're here today to talk about kind of your story, where you're from, and how you got involved in marketing. As well as we're going to touch on some other topics which are very topical in today's world. Even as you know, a couple of weeks ago, Google just launched their new platform. But so, Craig, tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today and where you're working and your story, I guess.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Look, it's a condensed version because it's probably, according to some people, I've been around too long. But I started my career many years ago, actually, in social services, and I spent 10 years working for the government with medical treatment teams, hard to serve juvenile delinquents, and a lot of really tough stories. And it was really an interesting opportunity to kind of grow as a person. It was my first time really out of school to leverage what I thought I learned, and realized I hadn't learned a whole lot until I got into the real world. And I really enjoyed that life. I loved the career. I felt like I learned so much, but I also felt that I was restricted by it being a government role that had some very stringent guidelines and interesting policies and unions and things like that just didn't really marry up to where I wanted to go. So I left and decided to go and pursue my dreams. I didn't even know what those dreams were, but long story short, I spent some time into the restaurant industry and found my way into the alcohol beverage world. And I was very fortunate to be hired by Gilby Canada, which became Diageo. I spent 10 years there and worked across the country, 5 provinces, 7 jobs, just fell in love with sales. And that became kind of my intro to the next level of my career. And then through sales, got introduced obviously to brand and brand marketing and trade marketing, and really became pretty important part of the equity side of alcohol beverage. I worked for the best brands in the world, and it was a big part of that story was branding, and being able to tell that story to consumers to encourage them to embrace the story as much as they embrace the brand. Spent those 10 years and then had a chance to exit out when there was a mass global merger, and I landed by accident in agency, and I came back from out west into Toronto, joined an agency, News Corps driven, News Marketing Canada, and I went in as an executive role, VP of Business Development and Client Service over my tenure there, 6 years. And I had no idea this agency world existed. I had no idea that there was a whole other world to utilize the skills that I'd acquired over my years, and quickly fell into a role that I also loved. And fast forward from there, I went through a number of different iterations. I ended up at CIM where we met, spent a really wonderful 6 years. I think probably 6 of the years of my life that I will always cherish as different and unique, and amazing culture and people, and learning curve beyond explanation. And that kind of led me to starting up my own agency. And I started with 2 of the ex-founders of CIM, and we started a company And in 6 years, we grew to $20 million. I think I look at it as a success story, but I think like a marriage, sometimes, you grow apart, you decide you don't really align on strategic vision of the company, and we chose to go our own way, and that was fine. And I think if I learned something over life, it's just business, right? So you move on. So a couple other agencies I've been through, had the great fortune of doing different roles with different companies with massive number of brands, and really executing kind of two things. One is either from the business development side, and that means selling the full suite of services, which is inclusive of everything from XM to digital sales, marketing, retail, and become a bit of an omni-channel kind of sales guy. But I was also an operator, and I guess that came from running my own agency. You didn't have a whole lot of bodies when you started, so you kind of put on all the hats and learned really quickly. And so I ended up here about 2 years ago at Influence Marketing, and I've known Chris, the owner here, for about 15 years, and we've kind of dated along the way, and finally decided to, at least make it something more formal. And it's been a really wonderful experience to date. And my role here, as part of what is a digitally integrated and omni-channel e-com agency, is to lead the retail sales division, both what existed when I got here, but also elevating the type of clients and the type of services in the retail side that we offer to clients. We are a fully integrated XM digital retail sales company, and that's my story in a real condensed version.
Very cool. And so at the influencer marketing company, you have some pretty big clients. You mentioned to me before we started clients like Meta and Microsoft and one of the things that we're finding in marketing today, and I teach at George Brown College and I teach marketing, as well as I run branded here, is there's a lot of tools that are helping us do our job better and faster and more creatively, and that's through AI. And so maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you're using some of those tools, what they are, and how they're assisting you and really making great marketing programs and sales programs for people.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Look, first, I am a huge fan of technology, and I'm pretty excited about the entire AI conversation. And I think, like everybody, we're all trying to figure out what is it and how to use it, and what are the value pieces that come with it, and what are some of the trappings that come with it. I do work with a group of folks who are way smarter than me. They're my digital team, creative team, who are really heavily immersed into the AI universe. We all started working with the standard chat 4.0, I'll say about a year ago. And we messed around with 3.0, moved to 4.0 really quickly. Probably the best $20 investment that anyone can make. And I would say that to anybody listening, that that's $20 that will pay back tenfold probably in nanoseconds. We started playing with that, and then, as you know, Ron, the evolution of chat has been pretty extensive in terms of the open forum and platform it's built on, people putting plugins and building in new technologies that are really nice little enhancements to chat, whether it's Web Pilot or it's your trying to think some of the Excel pieces. You've got DALL-E, so many different pieces in chat that offer you either technology enhancements, visual enhancements, capability. And so we've really kind of jumped into that with both feet. And I'd say we're at that learning stage, but for sure, from a productivity standpoint, it has accelerated so many other things in the company, both from how we market and talk about ourselves, how we might even take a story and run it through an AI platform to enhance the way it's written, or clean the message up to really integrate thinking, right? I mean, it's just phenomenal. And I don't mind telling you, on the business development side, being able to take several companies' websites, drop them in, and have AI give you the comparative analysis of those three companies. I actually used it for a company I was targeting, and I said, here's a company I'm targeting, and here's our website. Tell me what you see are links between what they do and need and what we do as a company. It was phenomenal to me, the amount of feedback I got. And then, as you know, if you learn how to prompt and work the tool well, you can very quickly define the data to something really usable and incredibly valuable. And I know I was working on a pitch a while ago and I needed a visual to really enhance the look and feel of what I was trying to create. And I went in and kind of helped kind of give it some direction. And what I got out was just mind-boggling. And then all I did was hand it over to my graphic folks, and they just cleaned it up in terms of the right brand, look, feel. As you know, they don't spell very well inside of the AI platform. So, you clean that up. But those are some of the things that we're doing right now. But I know we're all working together as a committee to try and figure out how we launch inside the company the tool as a general approach for business and a productivity opportunity for sure.
Yeah, I mean, your story here is really interesting. I also teach how to use these tools in classroom. One of the biggest takeaways that we're getting is you can't just input some information and then use it the way it is. There needs to be human intervention.
Yes.
Because it's not perfect yet. But at the same time, it does create new ideas. It creates some amazing additional copy, even just simple things like social media posts.
Yes.
I mean, you can start off with a certain way of writing it. It will take it, make it better, add emojis, hashtags, whatever you want in there. So if you're thinking about your agency you're working at, is there any fear that AI may, take away from people and maybe cut the workforce a little bit? What is your stance on that, I guess?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest question you hear in the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Look, I hear those comments from a few people and is why we are putting a committee together to help roll it out to everybody so that we can diffuse those myths around, we're all going to lose our job and there'll be a bunch of computers running our business. But I think the biggest thing I say to people is, look, you have to embrace it versus fight it, right? And you don't have to fear it, you have to respect it. And so if you start there, and then we begin to look at the productivity versus people conversation, I just think, and you already know because you're working in this world, but I think we're just trying to help people say, look, this will get you to places faster so I can actually let you focus on the things that you as a human being need to bring to the table that AI isn't going to bring. So let it do some of the things that, are time killers. It'll really enhance what you get to start with and let you work on the other pieces, right? And so, that's how we're approaching it with people here. Do I think it will replace people? I think if I was in certain roles in companies like copywriting, maybe, but I just feel like even a copywriter would use this to just make themselves better at what they do, right?
Yeah. Well, that's for sure. And it also helps build new ideas that you may not have thought of to
Right.
expand on different programs, marketing initiatives, or even make it even better or enhance what you've already developed.
Yeah, agreed.
You said an interesting thing, embracing technology and embracing AI. It's the same in education. I mean, in education, we were worried, to be frank, about, plagiarism or to academic misconduct, things like that. And students aren't, you ask them to build a marketing plan and they haven't written it. AI's written it.
Right.
So it became to a point, it's come to a point, to be honest, where we need to embrace it and use the tool, have them use the tool, and evaluate in a different way. So because we're not going to beat it. There are platforms out there that can catch it, but not well. But you also know when someone's written you an email and they haven't written it because it's written in a way better than you could write it. So
Yes.
so, but anyway, so and the other thing that's happening, as you may have heard, is Google is going through a massive amount of changes. And, any website today, you go on today, obviously there's cookies on those websites. From a privacy perspective, you're asked if you want to accept that or not accept that. But within the next, it was supposed to be this summer, but they pushed back. That will be all going away. And they'll be replacing GTM code with AI. They used to call it machine learning. They're now calling it something else, Genesis, I believe. And they're going to be expanding their search platforms in a different way. So instead of what people do on the web. It's going to be predicting what they have done in the past based on the information they have, and modeling out from there through the platform. Um, so that's a big change. So in your organization, have you worked with any of the technology suppliers? You mentioned Meta and other people, and how are they adapting to the new world and in your environment?
Well, probably like yours, we're seeing AI integration is everywhere, and it doesn't matter what the brand is, what the company is, what the product is. There is an AI inclusion in everything, whether it's what's on your computer software platform. Look, I work with a computer company we're about to launch in Canada. And look, the biggest thing, that's going to re-energize the laptop computer PC world is the AI chips and how they're in the market as of this week. I saw the first one advertised, that is going to be selling in Best Buy, and it's coming with an NVIDIA AI enhanced chipset. So, I see it on everything I touch and everything I look at. It has an AI inclusion, augmentation, addition. And so, we're using it in every facet of what we do. We're aware of the change, as you're talking about, around the back end of the systems and how that data collection is going to be managed differently in the future. And it is going to change a lot of things. But I mean, we should be using, in my mind, it's a great evolution of a technology that will make everything better if it is managed and controlled in a productive and positive way. And I don't know about that. So
That's okay. And so some of the programs you're doing, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the retail programs you're doing, to give everybody a flavor of the kind of work you guys do. And how are you using technology to assist those and develop those programs? I guess.
Yeah, what a great question. First of all, thank you for the chance to talk a little bit about look, I'm going to brag about one that's launching today because the team is here
Okay.
and they're in the parking lot. It's an XM program, but it is one of those really cool. And by the way, AI had a massive impact on the creative side of what it looks like. There's a candy called Nerds Clusters, made by Ferraro. It's probably the hottest growing candy flavor kind of thing built on the Nerds platform in the last 10 years. It's the fastest growing SKU in the marketplace. So we're doing a national tour for Nerds candies, and it is the most outrageous looking footprint and creative and graphics and clothing line that I've ever seen, and it's super fun. So a lot of it was generated through an AI platform. But other things we're doing, like we have some tremendous clients here. We work with clients like L'Oreal, where we manage their 300 to 500 demonstrators across the country, and we work on kind of payrolling and scheduling, and keeping that field force kind of vibrant and fluid. And it's a really interesting, a long-term client of ours, well over 8 years. We have a budding relationship with Skip the Dishes, which has been kind of fun, where we do a number of different things. And as you know, that's a very competitive landscape that is evolving incredibly fast in terms of where they started versus being a meal order system to now being everything, right? They are becoming a solution for consumers, compete against all of the grocery and mass delivery programs and Amazon. I mean, they're all playing in every space. So we're working with them on a number of initiatives around how they work with their customers. And I just worked on a project that included about 50,000 different unique customers they're working with and how we're going to help them. We're also launching a brand new a program with Meta in Best Buy, which we're super excited about. As I said, it kind of crosses right into this conversation around the VR, AR, MR. I had my first chance to put on a headset about 2 weeks ago, and I can't even tell you how unbelievably shocked I was at how great it was. And I'm a gamer. I'm personally a gamer, so it hit home for me on a bunch of different notes. But from a work productivity, it has so many crazy pieces to it that I read about it, I looked at online, but I had no idea until I put the headset on. So that's super fun. I'm already enthused, as you can tell. We are long-term clients of Red Bull and worked with Red Bull on a number of different initiatives. We run their student marketeer program, which is their campus program. If you've seen a mini with a can on the back, that's going to be our folks managing that program. And I'm deeply involved in a couple of other initiatives with them that I can't really get into detail on, but continued growth of their challenge in the market and how to do it differently than how they've done it to date. And they're in a very competitive landscape with a high share market product, and lots of people would like to take some of that away. So we're working on a lot of those things. And for me, the answer to your technology for me is an important part of all these programs, because you have to understand, what does it look like out there when you're sitting here today, right? And we're using kind of 3 levels of technology. We have a base level technology that is, geofence, geotrack, breadcrumbing capability. So how do we know where people are? Do we know where they really are? We do. What are they doing? How do we connect with them? How do we collect data? How does that data get to us? Pretty much everything is real time now. They all have app-based connectivity, and within that they have a lot of different tools. Mid-level gives you another level of dashboard and real-time analysis. And then on the high end, a little more expensive from an investment, but full, kind of fits the conversation well, but full data analytics, BI, and the evolution will be AI, right? It's the piece that it has multi-data source automation. So I can take data from the retailer, from the field, from the brand, from Nielsen, and plug it into the system. It'll automatically take all that, analyze it, and pull it to whoever needs it, rep, brand, management, and then it will dashboard, analyze it, and give you the insights on what you've got in front of you. And AI is the natural evolution of that technology. I think we're weeks away from that being integrated.
Oh, that's really cool. So with all this new technology, what are you doing with your staff to make sure they're all from, singing from the same song sheet, and they're all because this technology is changing fast, so the learning curve is there. So what are you doing with your staff to get them up to speed on all this new AI technology?
Yeah, I think that's the initiative, the committee that we put together, and I got kind of volunteered to lead that, not because I'm the smart guy, but because I just was interested to help kind of collaborate with a group of people to then figure out how to roll it out. So we have 3 levels of training that we're putting together. We're doing an introductory training, which is really the world of AI and what does it look like for everybody, just from a basic understanding. What are the different types, different uses, different reasons. And then we're doing a full second level, which is hands-on training. So we'll introduce them to what we are endorsing as the company-based platforms. We can't, as you know, there's thousands of them. So you kind of got to, stick a pin on a couple of them that you think are going to be useful and go as deep as you can. So we're going to do a training. Chat will be the main platform for day to day, but our creative team is using several different really solid graphically driven AI platforms. And then so we'll do the train, and then we're going to do a quarterly review and update on what we are using and what we are seeing new in the market, and if there are any that we feel like we should adopt. We also have an open forum kind of back to the committee to say, if you see something that you want to share, you think is really different or cool, maybe an opportunity, send it to the committee. We'll evaluate it, so that we're all together going to make decisions. We're trying to, we're on your own, go do what you want, but as a company, we need to box the tools we're using so we can go deep on them and learn how to use them really, really well. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, as a maybe something you may want to think about is Google has a new course called Google AI Essentials. And so you can just Google it, you can find it, but I'm actually using it in my classroom as a certification as part of the course. So, but it's very, I guess, educational as well as practical. So they really give you a good sense of what it is, where it's going, and then also gives you ways to practice it within the training. And so I've had some good feedback from people. Something you may want to look at. So, but I'm using it within one of my digital classes.
That sounds fantastic. I'm absolutely going to check that out. I think, there's such an appetite for everybody to know and learn and understand. And that kind of thing will be hugely valuable. So I definitely will have a look at it.
So one last question for you. So if you were to give some advice to young, new up and coming, marketers or digital marketers, what would you say to them if you were sitting down for a coffee or just a quick bit of tips that you might want to give somebody who's aspiring to be the next Craig Belcher, for example?
There won't be many of us left after a few more years. I think I would say to most of them what I say with or without technology as a platform. Embrace everything that's new. Read, listen, learn, ask, right? Those are so important today. And the tools that are available today that you and I certainly didn't have when we were growing up, use them, right? Use them to fill in the voids of what you want to know and you don't know. And then I guess add a filter to it. I think the biggest filter for me to a young kid is don't believe everything you read and everything you see. Take it and talk to somebody. If you see something, go and sit down with someone who you respect and you trust, and have a conversation about it to make sure that what you see and what you hear is real versus maybe inflated or fabricated.
No, that's some good advice. Well, Craig, I've really enjoyed our talk today, and obviously we're going to see more of your great marketing programs out there and sales programs that you're doing in the next little while. So where can people find your company if they want to look for you and connect to your organization?
Yeah, look, thanks, Ron. I've also thoroughly enjoyed it. So we are at influencemarketing.com.
Okay.
And we are located in Mississauga. We have an office here that we all come to every day. And there's all the contact information is right on our website, and probably lots of information about the things we're doing.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Craig. And as always, very insightful information. And everybody, this is the What's Your Story podcast. We're on all the channels, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, National Radio Public, and we'll be chatting with you soon. So take care and have a great day. And we're signing off for today. Take care, everybody.